suppose from Indian Army, you're fighting against your enemies. You kill 100 people, you'll get, Virta Puraskar, bravery Puraskar. But if you come home, you slap your neighbor, he might sue you, isn't it? So when you're working under the authority, whatever activities you are supposed to do, if you do that, you are actually praised for that. But if you do on your own, then you're not praised, actually you are punished. So when you're working in the temple or at your home for Krishna, this is soul working both ways. But this is akarma, what you're working in the temple, for example. And when you are doing something for your sense gratification, for example, then actually you are working for your own. So you get pap or punya. Is that okay? Just a summary. It will get clarified in the 4th chapter, Prabhu. But it's the soul's desire which matters. It's not the action.
So soul is working through the body, that's it.
Soul is expressing his desire through the body.
Both material and spiritual.
Both material and spiritual, because that's the means to express your desire. You cook some prasadam for your kid. That's the way you express your love for your kid. Or you may not do it. You may not do your duty, then you get papa for not doing your duty.
So can we just try this?
Okay. Okay. I think we are there, almost. So let's move to the next one, unless someone has any comments or questions.
Now, is it okay?
Can you hear me? Better or worse?
Yes, Prabhu.
Better.
Yeah,
Very
yes.
good.
Yeah, better.
This is good. Okay, I'll keep my laptop close to me. If it gets disturbed, please let us know, because I don't know. I'm just speaking. Next one, 21. Okay, who has just joined? Saki Radhika Mataji, would you like to do verse 21?
Sorry, Prabhu, I have not read this time and not.
Okay, hard to hear. Okay, you're not there. That's no problem, Mataji. That's fine. Ravi Mataji, you've just come back to the country, so I will not let you say. Just settle down. Vinay Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Would you like to say a few words about 21?
Yes, Prabhuji. Veda Vinishan. Yeah, because our soul is always is eternal and is never born and always remain eternal, so no one can be destroyed, the soul. So that's say is Ajam Abbayam. So and Abhinashinam. There's few words in here, so it's like soul. Don't think too much about soul, because soul nobody can kill. So that's why it's, Krishna's say, Prabhuji. Haribol.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. Just the last line, kam ghatyati hantikam. Similar things is explained in some multiple characteristics. Let's move next one, Prabhu. Okay, we have Jai Prakash Prabhuji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu, Dandat Pranam, Prabhu.
Dandat Pranam, Prabhuji, 222. That's another very important verse, very popular verse.
Yeah, Prabhu, in this sloka, it has been explained like how a person, when at the time of death, he transmigrates from one body to other body. It's all based on one's karma and obviously Lord's mercy. But actually, the soul never dies. It is just like when we change the garments from clothes from one to new dress. Similarly, the body changes from one body to other at the time of the death.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. We can just pick a few words very quickly. Vasansi. Vasansi means kapde, clothes. Jeernani, jeern, old, purane.
Yeah.
Marathi में क्या बोलते हैं? जीड़ी बोलते हैं. अरे वाह, नहीं कुछ और भी word. एक slang word भी है. There's a slang word in Marathi as well. I knew it, but I forgot. Anyway. So it's a local slang word in Bombay for Puran. Anyway, That's fine.
Yeah, we
So
call it
Vasant,
actually Jirna. Jirna is old and
yes,
worn out.
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. Telugu same. So many words are taken exact from Sanskrit. Huh? Very nice. Vasansi jirani yatha vihai. Vihai means give up. Give up. So Vasansi kapde purane, clothes are old. Yatha vihai, we give up. What do? We give up the clothes, old clothes. Navani, naya, simple. Grahnati, grahan karte to accept. Naroparani. Aparani is anya. Other. Nar is human beings. So human beings, when the clothes get old, what do? They give up the old clothes and accept the new clothes. Tatha, similarly, Sharirani, this Sharira, Bihai, gave up Jirnani, when this Sharir, this body is old, Anyani, Sanyati, Navani, Dehi. So Dehi is the key word here. Dehi is the one which is moving. It's not Deha, it's Dehi. So Dehi give up the old body and accept the new body. So what is the big deal about it? That's what Krishna is saying. You keep on changing your clothes. You give up your old clothes and get the new clothes. Similarly, the soul, the owner, Dehi, gives up the old body and gets up the new body. So what's the big deal? Why are you lamenting so much? The whole section basically is telling Arjun, do not lament, because you're lamenting for something which you should not lament for while doing your duty. That's important. It's not that Krishna is saying you can kill anyone anytime. That's not the point. In that situation, do your prescribed. In that situation, the situation is very important. Yes, Madhu.
When Krishna is telling Arjuna that do not worry because
Yes.
your body, you're going to get new body. But is not the Arjuna going to go to Godhead and he's not going to enter into the new body? He is going to Krishna and thinking about Arjuna's state of mind, that he has that guilt in his mind that he killed all his loved ones and his close family members, and then he's going back to Krishna, or he's going to go back into the another body.
So there are two questions, Mataji, which I get. One is Arjun's destination, one is Arjun's guilt. There are two things. So let's separate it first. So Arjun has a guilt, which we have already read in the chapter 1, and that's what the answer Krishna is giving. Your guilt is not correct. Sometimes you have a guilt because you are very nice, that's okay, but on the situation, you have to do what you have to do. You are a Supreme Court judge, for example, and some of your relatives come in front of you because they have been accused by someone that they have done something wrong. What is your duty at that particular stage? They are your relatives, you love them. But at that stage, you are a Supreme Court judge. Your job is, that's what your situation is, right? To give them punishment or reward accordingly. Whatever the law says, you follow. What would you do? If suppose they are going to get punished as per the law, forget your relation with them, what would you do? If you don't give punishment, will you be guilty? If you don't give, they are worthy of punishment. For example, just taking one scenario, and your job is, and government has entitled you as a Supreme Court judge, what would you do at that time? Your love should reign for your job or for your relative. You see the point? What would you do? You should give them punishment because they deserve it. If they do. Similarly, Arjun's situation, Arjun is overwhelmed by emotions because they are the relatives, understand? But they are not Mahanubhavan. You remember the verse we discussed about Mahanubhavan? Arjun is saying they are Mahanubhavan. Krishna proved it, they are not Mahanubhavan. So they are worthy of getting the punishment. You have tried everything your best. Now, as a Kshatriya, as a king, this is your duty to punish them and establish dharma for the sake of all the citizens of the world. Now, if you don't do it, actually you are guilty of not doing your duty. So you have to do your duty. If you're a policeman or a judge or a doctor, if you're supposed to do your duty, you got to do your duty. If you don't do your duty, actually people will blame you. Oh, unke relative the isliye unko punish nahi kiya, huh? Right? So actually people will blame you for not doing the right thing. Huh? Your relatives, actually people will praise you, although they were your relatives, but you gave the right judgment. Huh? So you'll be praised for that. The same situation is for Arjuna. Huh? Now, second question was where Arjuna is going to go. That's not discussed here actually. Huh? So we'll leave that aside just for now, because what Arjun's situation is completely different. But on a mundane level, which Krishna is explaining right now, he's saying you do your duty, which makes sense. Huh? Which makes sense. Okay, move to the next one. Rupam Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. You can hear us, okay?
Yeah, I can hear you, Prabhu.
223, Prabhu.
Yeah, Prabhu. So I'll start with the translation. The
Yes.
soul can never be cut into pieces by any weapon, nor burned by fire, not moistened by water, nor withered by the wind. So pretty straightforward shloka. It talks about the properties of soul, that by any means or by no means you can actually kill the soul. You can harm the body, but not the soul.
Yeah.
And then we also discussed about different types of annihilation while we were discussing this, that there will be two major types of annihilation. First will be by with water, by Shiva.
That's a partial one.
Yeah, the partial one. And then the next one will be by Shankarshan himself, and that will be by fire. But yeah, still soul is immortal.
Okay, thank you, Prabhuji. We'll read about the annihilations in 8th chapter. A part of it, at least in 11th and 12th canto of Bhagavatam, it explains the whole. Anyway, thank you, Prabhuji. You told the gist. I'll just pick up some Sanskrit words like that. So, Nainam Chindanti. Chindanti means ched karna, penetration. Nainam Chindanti Shastri. Shastra cannot do ched, cannot penetrate through the soul. That's one quality. Dahati Pavaka. Pavak means Agni, fire. Dahati, Dahana, burn. So it cannot be burned by fire. Like fire practically can burn everything. And that's where Rupam Prabhu said, you know, it can burn practically the whole universe, but not even one soul. It can practically burn, you know, trillions of jiva, zillions of jiva, but not even one soul. Na chailam klediyantyapo. So klediyantyapo, it cannot be moistened by the water. Water can come in and moisten everything. Floods came, New South Wales floods or Queensland floods. It flooded everything. But can it flood one soul? Cannot flood even one soul. Na shoshati maruta. Marut refers to wind. Maruti, Hanumanji, Pavan Putra. So Marut means Vayu, na shoshati. It cannot be dried up by the wind. So these are the four. 224 and 223, they're very connected. And maybe Ujjwal Rasa Mataji can do 224. Or Manohar Prabhu, Akhanda Rasa Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
Okay, 224. This individual soul is unbreakable and insoluble and can neither be burnt nor dried. He is everlasting, present everywhere, unchangeable, immovable, and eternally the same. So again, in this verse, it's describing the different properties of the soul, and continuation to other few verses before. So basically, the soul cannot be broken, cannot be burned, cannot be dissolved. It's ever existing. It's present everywhere. It cannot be changed. It's not movable, and it's eternal. So basically, same theme is continuing. Yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Prabhuji.
There is actually continuation of 23 and 24. They both are related.
Yes.
Because same thing
Can you
is
pick up the
repeated
words,
again.
Mataji, which relates 23 and 24? We can connect the
Yeah.
words.
Then in 24 it is achedya, means unbreakable.
Wait, Prabhu, can you
And over there it says nainam
leave this
chindanti.
for the second one?
Nainam
Mataji.
chindanti, that was given in the verse 23, and in 24 it is achedya.
Yes, thank
So
you.
these two are related.
So these two are
And
related.
then,
Yes. Next one.
and then in this, sorry, in verse 24 it says adaya, so which is
Yes.
na dahati.
Yes, thank you.
Nainam dahati. And
So
then the
everybody is
third
able to
is
hear what Mataji is saying? It's very much, each word can be connected with the previous verse. Thank you, Mataji.
and the third one is akledya. So that is na kledya. So
Thank you.
not moistened.
Yeah.
And the fourth is shoshayati, and the previously associate And the previously it says na shoshayati. So these are connected.
Thank you very much. So now you don't have to learn the verses. They're just there. It's so easy to remember these things. So first two lines of 224 are related back to 223. The four things which are mentioned 223. Why this doesn't happen? Because of that quality. Like just remembering what you have, fireproof safe these days. You can buy in Bunnings or somewhere else. So if you put your documents or passport or whatever, it cannot be burned by fire. Why? It cannot be burned. If you put this, it will be burned by fire, but not that safe, because it's made up of certain material which cannot be burned by fire, isn't it? So first it says it cannot be burned, and then it's saying because of that quality. It's made up of a special material. I don't know the name of the material, but that's what it is, isn't it? It looks like exactly same box, but another box will burn. This box will not burn. It's made up of a special material. The soul is made up of that material which cannot be harmed by Agni, by water, by Vayu, or by any weapons. Okay. Now, next two lines of 224, if you go to 224, they are another qualities. And I remember Rupam Prabhu asking a very nice question as well. Nitya Sarvagata. Nitya is all right. Eternal. Sarvagata. What does Sarvagata mean? As per Mayavad, as per Vaishnava philosophy.
Soul exists everywhere.
Huh? It pervades all over. Thank you. And what does Vaishnava philosophy mean? That's Mayavad in one sense.
Yeah, that is individualism, even though it's all pervading.
Ever existing. Okay.
It's
Arjun Mataji, you
individual.
said something I could not hear properly.
There is individualism, even though it's all pervading. The souls are individual.
Yeah. One more thing. Sarva Gata is very simple. Sarva, everywhere. Gata is able to go. Soul is able to go everywhere. So when the scientists say, so-called, just one little example, there is no life in other planets. But the Bhagavatam says, Bhagavad Gita says, they are Sarvata. They are able to go everywhere. Like another example, actually, on the earth, we can see this example. There are extremophiles. You know extremophiles? They live in extreme situations. Previously, scientists will think that bacteria cannot survive over 120 degrees centigrade, for example. Now, there are bacteria in lava. And the temperature of lava, the volcanic lava, 1600 to 1800 degrees centigrade. And they live comfortably there. They find it. They're called fire extremophiles. There are extremophiles which live under the surface of seabed. There's nothing there. And they are visible through the naked eyes. You can see those extremophiles. And they don't like air. They survive very nicely. So fire bacteria, for example, fire extremophiles, if they come down to this temperature, they will die. It's too cold for them. 40 degrees is too cold for them. So they live comfortably at the 1600 degrees centigrade temperature. So science is finding all these things. Now, when they say there's no life on other planets, what basically they're saying? The life which we know does not exist there. And that's okay. But what you know is very limited. But you are finding more and more entities which survive in a situation which we cannot even imagine. Our body will die over 100. Our body will die. But they live nicely, 1600 degrees centigrade. In the lava, nothing exists. If you put steel in the lava, steel will melt in a second. Steel. So they live on that temperature very nicely. For them, it's like, Hare Krishna, how are you? What's happening in the life? And we are like, wow. So it's what we know, it's very, very limited. So we cannot, based on our limited perception, give the declaration for the whole universe. Oh, this universe is like that. This is very childish statement, actually. Very, very childish statement to say that. Yeah, what we know, that's fine. We need a certain temperature. We need certain percentage of oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, and all that thing. That's all right. That's this type of body exists in this environment. That's okay. But you cannot say there's nothing in the moon, nothing in the Mars, nothing in the Jupiter. It's all cold planet. Okay, cold is fine, but it doesn't mean non-existence of life at other places. Soulless, sarvagata, able to go everywhere. Isthanu. Isthanu means, Prabhupada says, immovable. What does this mean? Unchangeable. What does this mean?
So no material element can move the body.
Okay, unchangeable. So there's achala and isthanu. There are two words. Sthanu is unchangeable, Achala is immovable. So what Jayaprakash Prabhuji said is correct. That's for Achala.
Immovable.
Chal means chalna, Achala means no chalna. You cannot push the soul. Chalo, chalo, chalo. बहुत भीड़ हो गई है, huh? There's too much crowd. Chalo, chalo, chalo. You cannot push the soul. Soul can go on its own desire. Huh? You cannot push the soul through any material means. Huh? Put a nuclear bomb here and the soul will go from here to, Japan or something. No, you can't do Achala. But when soul wants, it will move. And that's what we are reading. Masanti Jirani Yatha. Huh? Unchangeable. Can you change the soul under any circumstances? Our bodies will change. Obviously, it's changing every minute. What are the 6 changes in the body?
Birth, grows,
Yeah, body take birth. Second, it grows, maintains for a while. Sometimes we look very young.
Dwindles.
Some years looks so-called beautiful. Then produces some byproducts. You get married, you have some children. Then it deteriorates into 40 plus. Some wrinkles start coming up. Some people take anti-aging injection. I saw in Google advertisement come. This Buddha looks like 20 years younger. But excuse me, you're still the same old. The perceptions you can change. Put some makeup, but I'm whatever year old. And then finally it dies. So there are 6 changes which belong to the body, does not belong to the soul. That's why soul is called Sthanu. Soul is ever fresh. What it was, it is ever fresh. There's no change in the soul ever. Sorry, someone said something on Zoom. If you want to repeat. Okay, all satisfied? Okay, no worries. Let's move forward. So,
Prabhu, I have a question if I may ask.
Yes, Mata, a quick one.
I think so.
I think so.
Prabhu, we talk about individuality of soul so much, but then we look at Gaur Leela, or if we look at even Vrindavan Leela, we find personalities having being combinations of multiple personalities.
Yeah.
So then how is individuality retained in that? For example, the other day was Ramanand Rai appearance day, and he is Vishakha Sakhi and someone else together. So where is the individuality retained in that? And how do we understand this concept of one person having too many combination of 2 personalities?
Thank you, Mataji. Very, very nice question. It's quite deep, actually. So I'll repeat the question. So we're talking about individuality of the soul in this particular series of verses. Mataji's question is, when we read Chaitanya Charitamrita or even Bhagavatam, in Chaitanya Leela or in Gaur Leela or in Krishna Leela, we see many personalities having different personalities from the eternal world present in the same body. Mataji gave example of Sarup Damodar, Ramanand Rai, Vishakha Sakhi. We have examples of Advaitacharya, Mahavishnu, Sadashiv. We have example of Yashoda Maya, actually. Yashoda Maya is also a combination of multiple personalities. Dhara and Yashoda, they both come together. So how come this exists, different personalities? Prahlad and Brahmaji appearing as Haridas Thakur. How do we understand all this? Thank you, Mata. Very nice question. So, yes, Mataji. So they are very special cases and they do exist, and you should not consider them as like ghosts sitting in their body. Someone else's body, ghosts enter to that body. No, it's nothing like that. Krishna allows these eternal associates to appear. Now, in all these cases, there's always one main personality. Another example of Gadadhar Pandit, Radharani's duty. So look at Panchatattva, actually, it's quite complex in that sense. So Narad Muni, Srivas Thakur. So all these personalities will have one main person, but because the other person, I'll take the example of Yashoda Maya to simplify this case scenario. Yashoda Maya is Yashoda Maya, obviously, but Drod and Dhara, it's described in 10.4. If you read 10.4, 10th canto, 4th chapter. So it's described there. Dhara and Drod, they did a lot of tapasya to Brahmaji, and Brahmaji actually gave them the boon that you can become the mother. Huh? So now who can take the position of Yashoda Maya? No one can take the position of Yashoda Maya. But in this case, Dhara was allowed to be with Yashoda, to be as Yashoda. You understand the point? So Yashoda obviously is the eternal mother of Krishna, always Yashoda, and she comes as Yashoda. But Dhara, because she has done so much austerity, and Drod became Nanda Maharaj. Drona became Nanda Maharaj, and Nanda Maharaj is also eternal. So you see this multiple personalities residing together. Krishna arranges that. So Dhara, as a soul I'm talking, right, feels as I am Yashoda, and Yashoda is also there. So they both, two Prabhu, they are multiple souls in the body. So that's another chapter. Yeah. But in this particular scenario, they both experiencing the same Vatsalya for Krishna at the same time, without having two different personalities. Prabhu, they are, your whole body is a universe, Prabhuji. You have hundreds of millions of bacteria, Prabhu. Each bacteria also has a soul and super soul. Your body itself is a universe. Think about it, Prabhu. Your cell, each cell, Krishna. Yes. Don't get confused, Prabhuji. Krishna arranges all that. So same time, Krishna arranges Yashoda to be there and Dhara as well. So that's why we say there are a combination. But actually Yashoda is there and Dhara is also experiencing the same Vatsalya, same sweetness of the pastime simultaneously. How Krishna arranges, difficult to perceive from a mundane perspective. But it's different souls. Krishna is reciprocating. For example, one question was asked, how many Roop Krishna has? So we have Radha Gopinath here. How many forms Krishna assumes? Anyone knows the answer? There's a definite answer. Why? Your answer is correct. But that's, I'm not, you're right. You're right. What's the explanation? That's okay, but I'm saying, why does he assume unlimited form? Answer is correct. Very good.
He had different personalities based on the wives.
Yes.
So there's so many living entities. Everyone has a different relation with Krishna.
Exactly. So there are unlimited living entities, and everyone want to have a unique relation with Krishna, and Krishna can reciprocate. He has that capacity. We can't. If 10 people expect different things from us, how many we can satisfy? Everyone knows we can't even satisfy 2 people. Not even one. It's difficult in this day and age. We all understand. So, but Krishna can do it. Krishna has 16,108 wives. Just an example. He can satisfy all of them very nicely. They're all happy with each other, and he can same time satisfy all the jivas. He can satisfy cow, he can satisfy monkey, he can satisfy Yashoda Maya, he can even satisfy little jivas like us in our own way. So Krishna can do it, we can't. So he reciprocates. Krishna is a reciprocal personality. He reciprocates. 4.11. So Krishna does it. Now, how he arranges all that is difficult for us to comprehend. But that's what it is. Is it okay, Charu Mataji? Yeah, very nice question. Very deep, thoughtful. Okay. Because soul has been there in a bad association for very, very long time. Very, very long time. You're a very good person. If you associate with wrong people for a long time, the probability is you'll also become wrong. So soul is being there in this situation for zillions and trillions of life. So soul thinks, this is my home. So you're living outside India and your accent changes. Sorry. Sometimes people's dress also changes, people's culture change, everything changes. After 5-10 years, you will find, India se to nahi lagta. Yeah, lagti, huh? They're completely changed. Why? They've only been here 10 years. They think they're Aussie. They think. So people change. 5-10 years is long enough for this body to change. So they start speaking a different way. They start living a different way. They start eating differently, different things with different people in their style. So it happens. So soul has been there long enough. It's changed, and that's why you feel, or everyone feels, it's very hard. Krishna consciousness is foreign. It's not foreign. We are all Prabhupada says Krishna conscious entity. We are completely Krishna conscious. We are just covered with avidya, ignorance. And when the covering is removed, you'll realize your relationship with Krishna. Sweet relationship. Krishna consciousness is not something which is given to us. It's already there. It's just been a journey of uncovering, which we already have. Is that okay? Sort of. Chalega. Okay. Hare Krishna Mataji. Okay, is related to the same topic? Okay, Mataji, chalo.
I just think, like you said, where is location there and how body is conditioned. So
our soul is not, our soul is pure, but because of the
Bad association, it
conditioning,
desires
yeah,
wrong things.
Because but some point of time, how can we comprehend or try to speak to someone who has lost a loved one now in this? It's Krishna speaking directly, so he's given, he's there, but I think I just find it very difficult to explain or like to even comprehend. How can we ever understand? I think philosophy at that point of time is not, it does not, as much as we try and understand, this concept, it is very difficult at that point of time when we have lost a loved one, especially if it's someone that you know, your own, own family member, etc. So I think, saying all this to them, it's not going to work, or not going to help them,
To come out of that.
Yeah. Like say for a mother losing their child, or a father losing their father, or someone like that. So how can we not say, or maybe be there, but not kind of, because that I can go two ways. The person can either really get affected, and in that way, like if you're a good preacher, you can actually get them come and come out of that period, or they can just maybe just leave and not. It can be two ways.
Yeah,
so
understood.
How can we be careful there?
Yes. Okay. So I'll repeat the question for everyone's benefit. So, and correct me if I have understood it correctly. So basically, Mataji is saying all this philosophy is nice, but when we see real life examples, when people losing their loved ones, this philosophy may not work at that particular stage. So how do we sort of present this in a certain way to help them? Right? Lovely. That's the question. Bhagavatam gives the answer, Mataji, very quickly. So all this philosophy obviously is valid, but Bhagavatam or Bhagavad Gita does not deny your emotion while you're in the body. You have a particular name, you have particular culture, you have a family. Bhagavatam does not deny your emotions or relation. Rather, Bhagavatam gives the duty of a male, duty of a female, duty of a mother, duty of a husband or father. Bhagavatam describing. Otherwise, what's the meaning of all writing all those things? That what's your duty? Even Krishna is talking to Arjuna. What's your prescribed duty? If everything is about soul, then what's the matter of prescribed duty? There's nothing. Well, why is the distinction between male, female? There is a grahastha ashram, there's a vanaprastha ashram. Why? It's all based on body. In that sense, if you see, what's the point? But Shastra is discussing so much about it, so much. You're a grahastha, you're a wife, you're a mother, you're a brother, all these duties are defined because they recognize your emotions. They cannot just immediately ask you to jump out. You can't. You're in the body. You have certain things which belongs to the body, and you respect them, you love them. So that's valid. Bhagavatam is not, and that's what a major difference in Vaishnava and Mayavad philosophy. Mayavad philosophy is saying it's all zero. Buddhism is all wide. But we are saying no, it's valid. I can touch Prabhuji. It's valid person. He has pain, he has pleasure, he has emotion. And Bhagavatam is not denying his emotions. All he is saying, correct your emotions in such a way which aligns with Supreme Personality of Godhead in a mature way, not in an immature way. Give you an example, Bhagavatam, 5th canto, Chitraketu Maharaj, you know that pastime. When Narad Muni initially comes, Parvat Muni, Narad Muni initially comes, what he wanted? A son or a baby, right? They also gave philosophy that time. He did not listen. I want a son. After they Brahman, Padma Puran, the sadhu said, why are you bothered about a baby? He said, no, I want a son. I want a baby. Okay, have a baby. He got Dundakari in return. He get Chitraketu Harshashok in return. What happened after 5 years? Then he was ready to receive the instruction. 5 years ago, same sadhu gave a son. 5 years later, they gave the philosophy. So you understand, this is the preacher. A mature preacher will give only that much what is needed. If you have a 5-year-old baby, you will only give 5-year philosophy to the baby. If you have a 15-year-old girl or a boy, you'll give 15-year philosophy. So you as a mature mother will know what my baby can accept at this stage, or preacher will know what these people can accept at this stage. So, and sometimes preacher has to be very patient. Prabhupada was very patient. He didn't say to even one person, to even one Mataji, Prabhuji, wear dhoti or sari. He did not say. He never said, can you please help me in the kitchen? Never said that. He was very patient. He was washing their dishes. He was cooking for them. He was cleaning. He was giving class. He was doing everything. So yes, this is a very difficult task. Bhakti-Siddhanta Maharaj said, a preacher has to spend, 10 gallons of blood to make one soul Krishna conscious. And that's why they say, growing a tree is very, very difficult. It takes 100 years to grow a tree, and cutting a tree takes 5 minutes. That's why preachers sometimes get attached for a good purpose. Huh? Because cutting a tree, like, you have a particular concept about Krishna or devotees. If someone just blasphemes another devotee or contaminates your mind, it takes very little second. Huh? That's why sometimes Prabhupada was protective about his disciples. So what you said is correct, Mataji. You respect your relation. You have emotions and they're completely valid. At a mature time, at a mature stage, you will give or get the mature knowledge from a mature person. And that's why your Guru Maharaj or anyone for that, they're very patient, very, very patient. We are wasting so much time in our life, but they don't micromanage our life. So what did you do at 5 o'clock? What did you do at 6 o'clock? No one asked these questions. But actually, we are supposed to use our time very properly. They are patient. Okay, that's all right. They're bestas. Some time wastage will be there. Some money wastage will be there. It's all right. It's all right. They're getting mature. They're learning the lesson of life. Life eventually will not give you satisfaction without Krishna. So they're very, very patient. Is that okay?
We have to be patient.
Depend what your role is. You're a receiver or you're a giver. Especially when you're a giver, very, very patient, extremely tolerant. When you're a receiver, obviously, you should, but sometimes you'll be impatient. You see, when there are two people fighting, suppose two brothers are fighting, one is a 10-year-old, one is 5-year-old. When the mother will come, whom mother will chastise first? 10-year or 5-year? Why? Galti 5 वाले की है, लेकिन डांट किसको पड़ेगी? 10 वाले क्यों? He can understand the instruction. 5 doesn't understand anything. 5 वाला से give me chocolate, give me teddy, give me cycle, and me. बड़ा वाला कहेगा, मम्मा सब ले लिया, didn't give me anything. दे दो यार, छोटा है. Chota will never get chastisement. So if you're a receiver, you'll not get that much chastisement. So the giver has to be mature. So depending what your role is, but all your relations, family, Bhagavatam considers them valid, and you are dutifully bound to those relations. If you are not doing your duty, you cannot say, oh, I'm a soul, I am not supposed to do any of these things. No, you get sin actually. You get sin. You're supposed to do your duty. Whatever ashrama you are in, you may not do it, but you do get sin. So you have to be very, very conscious about these things, and that's what we are learning. That's what we are learning. So whatever your role is, male, female, husband, wife, brother, sister, mother, you have to give right shape to your relation in a very mature way, and try to become bigger as much as possible. If someone is small, okay, I'll become bigger. That means more tolerant. I'll tolerate. Huh? You're not listening, no problem. I'll listen. Someone has to listen, right? You cannot just keep going on and on. If someone is crying, you help them, support them, whatever you can. But at one stage, you are limited. And you say, okay, Krishna, take care. Our gurus have left us in the hand of Radha Gopinath. Not because we are very eligible. We are so ineligible. Radha Gopinath, you take care of these malachas. But Prabhupada said, I'm not saying it. Prabhupada said, you take care of these malachas. Because we are so ineligible. Prabhupada is not like on our head all the time. He is in that sense, but okay, बच्चे हैं, बदमाशी कर रहे हैं, they tolerate. Prabhupada is tolerating. Krishna is tolerating us. Guru Maharaj is tolerating us. Not that we are so good. My Guru Maharaj said, this movement is not growing because of you, it's growing in spite of you. He said in a class. Big preachers are there. Telling me, he's not growing because of you. Don't think, I am making devotees. What he will make devotees? You're making more mistakes, actually. It's growing in spite of you. In spite of your multiple mistakes, it's growing. And he said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy. You should be very, very humble in passing this mercy on. That I'm not taking any credit. Passing the mercy. Don't block the mercy. That's all he said. Don't block it. Give it to others. Huh? Not because I am great. It's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is great. My Guru is great. My teachers are great. Prabhupada is great. So depends where we are. But wherever you are, however you are, whatever your capacity are, try to become tolerant as much as possible. That will help us and that will help others. The more tolerant you are in spiritual life, I'm talking, the better you are situated, and you will grow much faster rather than being very agitated about your situations. Situations will always agitate you. We have to just accept the situation and change our perception to the situation. We can't change the situation. We can't stop the rains. What we can do, take umbrella, or not go out if possible. What can you do? The rains are there for 10 days. It's there. I washed my clothes. What to speak of clothes? Even my pots, which I washed, are not getting dry. They are wet as it is. What can you do? Leave it as it is. Leave some things for Krishna. Anyway, let's move forward. It's a big topic in itself. Oh, huh? Put the heater. Okay, let's move forward now. 225. I saw Charu. Okay, Manish. Manish Prabhuji, Hare Krishna. Sorry, I see you between Rupam Prabhu and Charu. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Nice to see you. Would you like to read 225, Prabhu? So it's a starting verse. So we read Sanskrit.
Sure. Avyakto ayam chintayo.
Avyaktoyam achintyoyam.
Avaktayo yamuchyate.
Avikaryoyam uchyate.
Tasmadevam viditvenam.
Tasmadevam viditvenam.
Nanu shochetam arhasi.
Nanu shochetam arhasi.
It is said that the soul is invisible, inconceivable, and immutable. Knowing this, you should not grieve for the body.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhuji. So, avyakta. Vyakta means vyakta karna. Can you tell your emotions sometimes? Samajh gaya ki nahi samajh gaya? Do you understand my mind? No, I don't understand your mind. Express your mind, we say. Huh? Vyakta. Vyakta means vyakti. Vyakti means a person. Krishna is not in person. He is a person. Avyakta. What is unmanifested? So soul is unmanifested. So normal eye, we can't see the soul, right? Avyakta. Second, achintya. Chintya means chintan. Can you think about it? No, we can't. On your own, so it doesn't mean you cannot. On your own, just by looking at the bodies, can you work out what is the characteristics of the soul? So you can't. You can't even see it. So avyaktam, achintya, avikarya. So vikar means transformation. Transformation happens as we were discussing in the body. Different transformations happens. A boy becomes young when he becomes 12 and 13. You know, his body changes. 13 becomes 20, his body changes. So all these things are changing. But is soul changing at all? Avikaryo. So these three things are mentioned: avyakta, achintya, and avikaryam. Uchyate. So this is being said. Tasmad. Therefore, viditvanam. Knowing this, knowing all this, what I've just said. Nanu sochitam asasi. Please do not limit. So Krishna is saying very emphatic statement here. Please don't limit. It's not, because you're talking about the soul. The soul have all these qualities. Nanu sochitam asasi. Therefore, you should not grieve for the body. Very simple verse, but very profound verse. Let's go to 26. Now there's a change in the direction here. Let's compare 25 and 26. Read 26 and we'll come back to 25. Who's next? Charu Mataji, Hare Krishna. If you're there. Okay.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Sorry, Mataji. If you are able to read 26.
Yeah. Athachainam nityajatam. Nityam va manas manyase mritam. Tathapi tvam mahabaho. Nainam shochitum arhasi. If, however, you think that the soul, open brackets, or the symptoms of life, bracket close, is always born and dies forever, you still have no reason to lament, O mighty armed.
Yeah, this is a very nice verse. See the theme is changing now. So far, what Krishna was saying, soul, characteristics of soul. Now he changes the theme and he says, if, however, atachayana nityajatam, if, however, you think, now Krishna is not saying this is what the reality is. You know, when we meet with the people, different people have different opinions. So you have expressed your opinion, Now you're giving opportunity to express another person's opinion. If, however, you think, whatever, see, Krishna is so kind. Krishna is so humble. He's not saying, I'm the Supreme Personality of God. Whatever I have said, that's it. Sometimes say, I'm the father of the family. I am the lead of the family. Listen me. And everyone thinks they are the lead of the family. No, look at Krishna, so humble. He is giving opportunity for other person's opinion at the same time. And you'll see this many places of Bhagavad Gita. So that shows he is really the Supreme. We are not the Supreme, but we think we are Supreme. He is really the Supreme. Still, he gives opportunity to others. So that's what we should also become a little humble. Even if they are wrong, we should give them opportunity. Now, we don't have to follow the wrong things, but the point here is being humble and we can listen to others. Huh? Listen, Krishna is listening. Now, what he is listening, that may not be right or wrong. That's, you understand the point here? Yes, the point is listen to others and give opportunity to others. Again, you not have to follow others all the time. Yeah, if they are right, definitely you should follow. But if they're not right as per your philosophy, you said you become another religion. Thank you so much. Thank you for the offer. See you later. Huh? But someone's telling nice Krishna conscious things. Yes, we take what we can. Okay. If, however, Afichanam, Nitya Jatam, Nitya means always, Jatam means Janma. If you think soul is Nitya Jatam, soul always take birth. Who sings like that? Okay, let's see the next line. Nityam va manise martam. Or, so soul takes birth and soul dies. If you think, again, that prefix has to be there. It's not Krishna is saying. If you think soul takes birth, soul dies. Who thinks like that? Anyone can give example? The whole world is thinking like that. You take birth and you die. Huh? You take birth and die. So, Prabhu, ek hi baar life mili hai. Enjoy the best you can. Huh? There's only one opportunity you have. And even then one opportunity, they say, Jawani sirf ek baar aati hai. Enjoy your best. Huh? Milegi na dobara. Pura gana bhi aata hai. Mujhe nahi aata hai, but you know, we hear all these statements. Huh? Ek life hai. Enjoy your best. And what's the definition of enjoyment? Don't ask that. That's all different. But anyway, that's the point. That's a general opinion. So Krishna is presenting here a general widespread opinion. And what is that? You take birth and you die. And even if you consider reincarnation, you take birth again and die, right? So if, however, you think Nityam Jatam, always take birth, Nityam va manase, manase means mante ho, if you consider like that. But so soul takes birth and soul dies. In that situation, in that philosophy, Tathapito Mahabhav, Mahabhav refers to the Arjun Mahabhav. You're very great. Nanam Sushtamarasi. You are born out of chemicals and the chemicals get dissoluted. So why are you lamenting about chemicals? I read in introductory course of Bhagavad Gita somewhere, a scientist, I forgot the name. Anyway, he said your body is made up of, certain calcium and phosphorus, and that costs only 40 rupees, less than $1. Is your body only worth less than $1? Wow. If you tell this, even the scientist who has discovered it will not believe it. You take insurance for this body for, $5 million or something like that. I heard one football player, Ronaldo, is that football player? Valid name or invalid name? I don't know. His one leg, I read it somewhere, was $20 million, 20 something. Maradona. Here we are. See, sabko pata hai. Mujhe chhod ke. Anyway, so this Maradona's one leg was insured for $20 million. Just one leg. Forget about another leg and his hand and whatever. So, okay, whatever. Now don't worry about the names here. I was just trying to give an example. So the point here is people insure this body which worth, as per the scientists, 40 rupees chemicals for $50 million. Then why you are attached to this body? It's only 40 rupees. You can buy less than $1, 80 cents. No one will cry if you lose your 80 cents today, I'm sure, in this situation. Why are you crying about the body? Why is all this drama you are doing just because of the body? Your car is worth more than the body. Huh? When the accident happens, whom they try to save first? The passenger or the car? The passenger to marne do, car ko bacha lo. The car worth $50,000 or something. No, the ambulance comes and they save first the passengers. Why? But bro, passengers only 80 cents. Car is $50,000. It doesn't work that way. So their own philosophy doesn't make any sense. This body is made up of chemicals. It grows. You have no emotions. You're a scientist. You are a brain scientist, brain neurologist, and you go and tell in your house, enter into your house, and someone is angry at you, not naming anyone, and then you say it's just the secretion of some chemicals. Will that person be happy with that? He'll become more angry. Then I'll secrete more of this chemical. Prabhuji or Mataji, whoever it is, you can't do that. You have to respect what other person's feelings are, right? And try to reciprocate wherever, whatever you can. So if you think, very simple thing, if however you think the soul, symptoms of life, that's why Prabhupada write brackets, will always be born and die forever, you still have no reason to live it, isn't it? So if you think this body just takes birth and dies, so what? It's just a bunch of chemicals. Move on. Okay, next one. I don't know. Hare Krishna. K.A. Who is this K.A.? If we can have a proper name, that will be nice, so that we can talk to you. 227. Next one is Amar Prabhu and Kanishka Mataji. Hare Krishna. Are you able to read 227?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna Prabhu.
I won't be able to read this, Prabhu.
Okay, no problem, Prabhuji. That's fine. Divya Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, I'll try Prabhu.
Thank you.
Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityur.
Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityur.
Dhruvam janma amritasya cha.
Dhruvam janma amritasya cha.
Tasmad apariharyarthe.
Tasmad apariharyarthe.
Natvam sochitam arhasi.
Natvam sochitam arhasi.
Translation: one who has taken his birth is sure to die, and after death, one is sure to take birth again. Therefore, in the unavoidable discharge of your duty, you should not lament.
Thank you, Mataji. It's also a very, very popular verse. Similar verse is used by Vasudeva when he's speaking to Kansa. Very close, I think 2 lines, something like that they are saying. You can read in Bhagavatam 10.3, if I'm not wrong. So, Jatasya hi dhruvo. So, Ja refers to Janma, Dhruva refers to definitely going to happen. We have a Dhira Prabhu, his previous name was Dhruva, and we have Dhruv Maharaj in Bhagavatam. Dhruv means Pakka, very Pakka. Means it just will happen, you cannot change it, right? So, Jatasya hi dhruvo mrityu. So, Ja, one who has taken Ja, Janma, Dhruvo mrityu. Mrityu is Dhruv, you cannot change. Can any scientist change your mrityu? Just not possible. They can talk about, what do you call, life insurance. Life insurance insures your life? Yes? No. It just charges you premium, doesn't insure your life. If you die, then certain benefits may come to your family. But they don't say, because I'm insuring you, I'm ANZ, for example, I will make sure you never die. Anyone says like that? It's just a fake word, isn't it? Life insurance. If your life goes away, you get, $2 million or whatever it is, You lose your one organ, you get 250,000, and this whole things are there. But no one can insure your life. No one can insure. Because Krishna is saying it. If you have taken Janma, Dhruvo Mrityu, and opposite, Dhruva Janma Mritasya cha. So if you have died, you will definitely take birth. And if you have taken birth, you will definitely die. So Tasmat, therefore, Aparihar means which cannot be changed. Something cannot be changed. You complain, I'm getting old, I don't want to get old. So what should I do about it? You can complain about it. Can someone do about it? I'll go to my father. My father is very rich, and he will make sure I will not grow old. Now, which rich father can change this? Father will like, I myself is so old, I can't help you. So, Jan Mrityu Jara Vyadi Dukh Doshanu Darsham. These 4 things, this cannot be changed. So the first line is very clear. It's very, very simple. If you have taken Janma, Dhruva, Mrityu is Dhruva. It just has to happen. And if you have died, if you die, Janma has to take place. Now you can also understand from soul's perspective. Now soul, when I say soul in the body, Now, if you go back to Godhead, obviously you go back to Godhead. But if you are in the material world, soul just transmigrates from one body to another body, and it's just constantly entering into a system, exiting into a system. Suppose you take a flight from here to India or Singapore, wherever, you enter into a flight, a particular a vehicle, and you exit. And then in Singapore, you change a flight. You enter, you exit, you enter. That's what is going on. Similarly, in the body, soul enters and soul exits. The entering of the soul is called Janma. Exit of the soul is called Mrityu. What's the big deal about it? If you think in that perspective, again, as Mataji was asking, you can't give this philosophy to everyone at all the time, huh? Because Shastra respects your situation. But from a higher level, that's what is happening, isn't it? And that's why don't get too much bogged up in the body. Body is there, body will die one day, and different things will carry on. But you can leave this body and go back to Godhead and never do this thing again. That's possible. Huh? Prabhuji was saying about the rent. You're paying rent to this property. I think this is also rental property. If Prabhuji doesn't pay the rent, what will happen? The owner will send a notice, and after a few notices, if Prabhuji ignores, he will say, "Bhai Sahab, where property? Hare Krishna." Huh? Maybe you can look for another one. So he has to pay whatever he's using the facility of. Huh? But if he doesn't pay, the owner will come and say, "Bhai Sahab, no, get out." Huh? So Prabhupada said, how many times here the owner will come and say, "Get out, get out. Why don't you buy your own property? Huh? Leave your own property." No one can say get out. So your own property is where? In Vaikuntha Loka. It doesn't belong here. We are in a Dukhalaya Shastra, very temporary situation. Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj said very nicely, we are all here on a temporary visa. You may think I'm a citizen, but we are all here on a temporary visa. Our visa may be 60-year-old in this earth planet, but we are on temporary visa. Generally, tourist visa lasts for 3 months, for example. After 3 months, you cannot stay in the country. Similarly, this visa will expire one day. We don't know the expiry date, but get out. What's the big deal about it? You come from Vaikuntha, you are here wandering around, checking it out. How's Switzerland and how's America and how's Australia? How's Harbour Bridge? Prabhupada said, enough checking now, go back. Enough check. How many times you have checked it? Prabhupada said when he was in Switzerland, this disciple said, "Prabhupada, this is Switzerland, this is a very beautiful country. People come here for relaxation." Prabhupada just said, every place in the material world is another form of misery. Every place in the material world is another form of misery. Now in Australia, you may have different misery than Switzerland, but Switzerland has another misery. I was talking to one guy, he lived in Europe for a while, and he was discussing, should I go to America or Europe with this and that. I'm like, start chanting 16 notes first, and then we'll talk other things. Anyway, so he's confused because Europe, he's saying there are certain benefits. America said, can you please help me to sort out? What can I say? I say, huh? Generally, he's going to US now. Yeah. Anyway, so the example I'm trying to give you, he said, there are too much taxes there, for example. The pay is low. Okay, now you have already taken a decision. Why are you asking? Anyway, the point which I'm taking, so America may have their own deficiencies, Australia may have own, Europe may have, there's nothing much about, nothing much is there. Prabhupada said, another form of misery. That's all it is. You may think that's comfortable in this sense. Okay, fine. Another sense, it will not be so comfortable. Huh? So tasma, therefore, aparyad. This is aparyad. This cannot be changed. So natam sochtam. Don't think too much about this. Okay. Next one, 228. After the Madhuri Mataji, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Mataji. Would you like to read 228?
Yes, Prabhu. Hare Krishna. Avyaktadini bhutani.
Avyaktadini bhutani.
Vyakta madhyani bharata.
Vyakta madhyani bharata.
Avyaktani dhananya eva. Tatra ka paridevana.
Tatra ka paridevana.
Shall I do directly translation, Prabhu, or word
Yes,
to
yes,
word?
but just a translation.
Translation. All created beings are unmanifest in their beginning, manifest in their interim state, and unmanifest again when annihilated. So what need is there for lamentation?
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. So avyakta dini, same word. Avyakta dini bhutani. Bhutani refers to bhut, ghost. Huh? Bhut means jiva. Oh, that's another thing. Yeah, Bhut means past as well, but here Bhut refers to Jiva. So all of us are Bhuta. Sorry. That's what Bhagavad Gita is saying. We're all living entity. In Sanskrit, Bhuta is living entity. And also past and also Bhuta. Bhuta, Pisachani kat nahi aave. So Avyakta Dini Bhutani. So Avyakta Dini Bhutani. So Bhutani are Avyakta, unmanifested. So initially the Bhuta, the living tree is unmanifested. Just so if you start in Srimad Bhagavatam, when we are all into a state where we were not manifested. So the jivas were there with the desire, and then Mahavishnu glances and all that, the Prakriti gets created. So we are all avyakta initially. Vyakta Madhyani. Vyakta means manifested Madhya, in the middle. Madhyani Bharata, avyakta. So initially we are avyakta, unmanifested. In the middle we get manifested. Just imagine your pre-birth, you're unmanifested. Suppose you are coming from Vaikuntha. Many of you will be coming from Vaikuntha. I'm not. I may be coming from some other Patala Loka or something. So if you're coming from Vaikuntha Loka, from Prithvi perspective, you are avyakta, you are unmanifested, right? And you enter. Simple example, you come to Australia on a visitor visa. Okay, you're all in Australia. Let's go to Europe. Europe chalenge. Let's go to Europe. You don't have to get visa. Australians get visa by default if you haven't been. So if you enter into Europe for 90 days, they stamp you. So you are not there in Europe on 23rd of May, 2022, for example, right? You enter into Europe 23rd May. Vyakta Madhyani Bharata. So avyakta, you are unmanifested in Europe. You enter into Europe, you become avyakta. Suppose your friend, oh, nice to see you after a long time. You are coming to London. How's the things in Australia? Blah blah. So Madhya, Vyakta Madhyani Bharat. And then what happens? You leave. My flight is on 2nd of June. I have to leave. So what happened? In the London, you are avyakta again. Simple. So you are avyakta in London. You become vyakta in London, and then you become avyakta in London again. So you enter and you exit. So similarly, soul enters, initially is unmanifested, enters into the body, and the body starts working, and we call him a certain name, a certain position, and blah blah blah. And then one day he becomes avyakta again. Now where he goes, that's another thing, but he becomes avyakta again. Simple. So initially we are all bhutani, avyakta, unmanifested. In the middle, while we are in this body, what is visible to our eyes, we are vyakta, we are manifested. Avyakta nidhan. Nidhan means maran. When you are nidhan, when you die, you become avyakta again. Why are we limiting on that? Again, entering, exit. That's what is going on. Now, if you read this philosophy on a daily basis, literally, we become little detached to the body and the bodily possessions. If something doesn't work, someone doesn't work, it's okay. It's okay. It's not the end of the world. But again, we respect whatever bodily situation is. So we don't disrespect. It's not the point here. You start disrespecting your body or the body relations or body possessions. We call it is Krishna's TV, is Krishna's house. So we respect from that perspective. But when I say it's my TV, my house, you're not very intelligent. So very nice philosophy. 29. So 2 more verses in this series.
Hare Krishna, question, Prabhu.
Oh, Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Prabhu. So here it's only referring to the body and not to the soul, right?
Yes, no, he's referring to the soul, Prabhuji. So soul enters, so soul initially is unmanifest, Prabhuji. It enters into a body, it so-called becomes manifest. So-called, you cannot see soul from your eyes anyway. Yeah. Right? It becomes manifest, and then nidhan of the body, not of the soul, it becomes unmanifest again. You go and burn the body in the crematorium ground. So enters into a system, so-called manifest, it's not visible, and then so-called unmanifest again. Now, why are you lamenting on that?
Okay.
The main thing is not lost at all, which is the soul. Is that okay, bro?
Yeah, okay.
Yes, Charu Mataji.
I don't know how to put this into words. Okay, so when a mother conceives a child,
28, please. Yes, Mataji.
The minute the child is conceived, a soul goes into that little zygote that is formed. Now, over a period of time, the zygote may split into 2. So what happens to the soul? Is it cut into 2 and goes into 2 eggs to become twins? or does another soul appear from somewhere to go into that?
Okay.
Now, one of them, suppose over the period of gestation period, you know how sometimes the one baby may be absorbed by the other. So it happens. It's just one of the things that can happen during the pregnancy. So what happens to that soul? Does it merge into the previous one, or does it again leave?
Yeah.
So just
No problem,
if you could
Mataji.
shed some light on that, please.
Yeah, thank you. Mataji asking all these nice complicated questions. Thank you. Anyway, Mataji, but you only answered your question. So we are what you are expressing, sorry, externally speaking, what you are expressing is just your external vision. You're not able to see the soul, right? So when you are saying that that zygote or something gets split, it has another soul. You have twins, and sometimes 3 babies get born. Sometimes I heard 4 even get born. There are 4 souls there. And when someone wants to leave, the time is up. Their time in that sort of body, even in the pregnancy inside, was only like 1 month. So that soul came, and that soul left. Another soul came. There's nothing too big about it. Jayadatt Maharaj was talking about what's the name? Dolly, a sheep, Dolly. So Dolly cloning was very popular at that time. So Maharaj was asked this question. So these people are cloning the Dolly. Huh? So, but cloning the Dolly, actually, this is very high level thing. If you look into it, what are they doing? So a Dolly, a sheep, if you don't know, a sheep, they take the living cell of the sheep in certain funnel or something, right? They take living cell. And from that living cell, they produce another living cell. So Maharaj said, you're producing life from life. That's not from chemical to life. We say about it, but you have not done it. Huh? So first thing, and they take a living cell and then they produce, so that living cell attracts another cell in a certain condition. So soul is not getting merged, soul is not getting divided. What we see from these eyes are just changes of that lump of matter. That's all we are saying. So if the 2 babies are born, that's fine. 2 souls get attracted because that's what the destiny of those 2 souls are, to take birth in this particular family, in that situation. So at a particular time when father and mother conceive the child, 2 souls get attracted.
No, but initially it is only one. In 4 weeks' time, if it splits into 2,
yes,
then there was only one soul initially, but then it split. The zygote split into 2 identical twins. So does this soul split, or does it attract another soul after
it attracts
splitting?
another soul, Mataji. It attracts another soul. Simple. So 2 souls might be living on the very first day. We don't know. Right? And then 2 souls manifested as 2 after 4 weeks, isn't it? So like you're sharing your room, with your daughter. And after 4 weeks, you say, bhai, you go in your room, I go in my room. So now I see, oh, there are 2 rooms. I'm just saying, what we see from these eyes is very external. How much we see anyway. Huh? So 2 souls are residing in one room. And after 4 weeks, they say, let's get out to your own room. Is that okay?
Yeah. And can I just ask one more
Yes,
question?
Mataji. Just one thing I will just clarify. The split and the merge, which we see from the eyes, we're not able to see anything, to be honest, Mataji. There's a very, very external vision which we have. How the souls are working, how they're residing, when they leave, when they come. It's beyond our physical seeing, physical vision. It's all arranged, it's all destiny. They have a karma related with that family. And if a baby dies, for example, for 4 weeks, he was supposed to live in that sort of body inside the mother's womb. And then he leaves, he or she leaves. So it's just coming and you like travelers coming in Australia, travelers leaving, some travelers living, 5 travelers in one room sometime, 1 traveler living in a Meriton hotel sometime, So all these things are there based on your karma, based on your rent, how much you can afford, you do all this. So it's very simple concept-wise, but what we see, we can't explain that in terms of soul. Is it okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Prabhu, also when we were doing the Vasamsi Jirnani verse,
222, yeah.
222. So we have, when the soul leaves the body, it has It's a combination of super soul, soul, and the subtle body.
Subtle body, that's right.
And that goes into another body. And that's how we have memories from past or sanskar from past life, right? Suppose in the fortunate circumstance, this soul were to go back to Godhead. What happens? Ego. So the subtle body remains behind. The soul goes back to God, to Vaikuntha. What happens to the super soul? Does it also go back to? Does it merge into the actual into Krishna, or what happens to it?
Yeah, thank you, Mataji. So, Mataji's question, I'll repeat if you could not hear. So, what happens if a fortunate soul goes back to Godhead? So, at the moment, what we say, a soul, a subtle body, and a super soul, they go into different bodies, for example. So, if this soul happens to go back to Godhead, what happens? This question is clear? Yeah. So, Mataji's question is, okay, soul goes back to Godhead, kaam ho gaya. What happens to the subtle body, and what happens to the super soul? The question which the last one was super soul. Does it get merged? Super soul doesn't have to get merged, Mataji. Krishna's manifestations are unlimited. So he manifests himself. For example, Mahavishnu, when he breathes out, all the universes come. Within the universes, he expands himself as Chiranga Sai Vishnu, and then he inhales and he takes everything back. So there's no merging or splitting. It's his manifestation and manifestation. Krishna can do it. Huh? That's one thing. Subtle body, what happens to subtle body? Subtle body gets transferred into a suitable subtle body for the spiritual world. That means our buddhi becomes clarified. So spiritual world also you have buddhi, you have ahankar. What's your ahankar? I am the real servant of Krishna. So man, buddhi and ahankar, you carry actually the spiritual world in a purified state, not in a contaminated state, which we had here. So they get dissolved and they become purified. Okay, so all three salt. Thank you. Yeah, it gets purified, it gets dissolved. Like you're in a sattva, you become Shuddha sattva. Okay.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna,
Sakti
Prabhu.
Radhika Mataji has a question. We'll respond quickly. I'm looking at the watch. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Just a small question, Prabhu. We are again and again.
I mean, your voice is quite low.
Can you hear me now, Prabhu?
Yes, Mataji.
Prabhu, just one thing. We are again and again studying that Krishna is saying soul is unchangeable. So, but like the desires are changing again and again. So
Yes.
how, like when I try to see these things, my desires, all these things, it's like a fluid, like it's mixed with ego. You know how the fluid is mixed. It's
Yes,
like that.
Mataji.
So I wanted to understand how is it different from soul, and how can we differentiate that? Okay, soul is not changing. It's
Okay.
the desires which is
Can I
changing.
give a
But
simple example? As you actually yourself said, the desires are changing, not the soul. So suppose you change your dress, does not mean you change. You are same person. You change your dresses. So similarly, soul is same. Soul desire changes. So today I want to serve material energy. I'm very attracted to this material world. I want to gain name, fame, money, and all that thing. But tomorrow, when my desires are purified, I give same thing to Krishna. I want to give name to Krishna. I want to give fame to Krishna. I want to give money to Krishna. So, but my soul, for example, is exactly same. My desires are changed. My desires are purified now. Initially, they were not purified. So they are fluid, you're right. And sometimes even devotees become karmis. Many sannyasis could not follow their sannyas ashram. They fell back. So yes, you're right. It goes back and forth because it's fluid. Maya is strong. So it is fluid. You're right. Does that make sense? It goes back and forth.
See ourselves as, like, identify ourselves as, like, also as a soul, because
Sorry, say again, Mataji.
how can we understand identify ourselves different from our desires or as souls? How can we see that?
That needs a lot of maturity and a lot of practice in spiritual life. And you're right. Like sannyasi, for example, they can see on the soul level. We can't. We see as a body level. We see there's a male, there's a female, there's a good person, there's a bad person. He's my friend, he's my enemy. Our vision is very external. Our sannyasis are not getting angry. Why? For example, just one small example, they can see this living entity has a contaminated desire. Living entity is very nice. He's a servant of Krishna, but his desires at this stage are contaminated. They tolerate. But we become very externally visioned and we get angry sometimes, or we become very attached, we become very possessive. This is my property, this is my car, my mobile, my laptop, because we are looking externally. So that vision will come, it will take time, and it will require a lot of service to Mahan Vaishnavas. You will get that vision. The Maharaj actually explains this particular thing very nicely. Don't have time to share, but he said, in nutshell, he said, when I came with Prabhupada as a servant, he served Prabhupada for a long time. And he said, actually, Prabhupada gave me this vision. What you just explained, Prabhupada gave me that vision. He openly says in the lecture. He said, I was looking at the word, and then I started looking the word with the vision of Prabhupada. He said that in his lecture. So that vision will come after our long service, lot of devotion, and with the mercy of our Guru Maharaj and other Vaishnavas. We'll get that vision, and then we will not be so much disturbed while living in the world. You will still be living. Sannyasis also living in a house, they're also wearing clothes, they also get so-called sick. But their vision is what differentiates them and us, isn't it? Or advanced translated. And our vision is contaminated. They also wear a jacket in the code, isn't it? They also take bath and all those things, what we see on an external perspective, but their vision is different. So that vision will come, it's available. Bhagavatam actually is offering that vision to all of us. It will happen. We just have to keep marching sincerely. Ujjwal Rasmataji has a question or a Kandasa Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Yes, just want to quickly confirm about the subtle body. You mentioned that the intelligence gets spiritualized, and that goes along with the ego, and the mind also gets purified, right? So with a pure mind, with a pure intelligence, the spiritual intelligence, the soul goes back.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yes, Mataji.
So the identity, the soul, which is in the spiritual world, has the mind and the intelligence as well, which is purified.
Yes, Mataji.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. Okay, like Yashoda Maya has a mind. My son is coming back home. He would be hungry. Let me prepare a nice feast for him. He has buddhi, he has ahankar. Ahankar, I'm the mother. When someone tells your Lala is stealing, you don't know my son. I know my son better than you. That's ahankar, right? But that's a real ahankar. That's not a false ahankar. Huh? Real ahankar. Krishna is my son. Any relation you have with Krishna, that's called real ahankar. If you say, Krishna is my father, Krishna is my friend, Krishna is my pati, Krishna is my husband, Krishna is my protector, that's real ahankar. When I say this person is my everything, that's called false ahankar. But at the same time, as we were discussing with Mataji's question, we don't disrespect that. But what we say, contextualize it. In this body, in this role, in this age, yes, it's correct. And please follow your duties. Please follow your duties. But beyond this, there's another vision, there's another world which you can relate with. Okay, last question. JP Prabhu, Hare Krishna.
Krishna Prabhu, just on the extension of this, Prabhu, soul, as we were discussing, it starts with unmanifest, then manifest, and then unmanifest, right? So how about the context of super soul? It's always manifest, and then whenever it takes an avatar, is that like, again, it'll manifest? Like, or is it like,
okay,
manifest and man? Is this applicable for super soul, or is it like always manifest?
Yes,
because
very
it's
nice question. So when we talk about the soul for a normal jiva, unmanifest, manifest, and unmanifest, does it apply the same thing for the super soul? Yes, Prabhuji. Avatar. There's a word in Sanskrit. So avatarati iti avatar. Avatarati means someone was, suppose, on a 5th floor. He comes down on the 2nd floor and he goes back on the 5th floor. Here, 5th floor is said Vaikuntha Loka. So Krishna's incarnation, say Nrsimhadev, we're discussing about it. Nrsimhadev yesterday. Nrsimhadev has his own loka. He comes down, he does his leela, he goes back. Yes, Prabhuji. So on our manifested vision, he comes and he goes. But for Lord Vishnu, we say he's always there. Sarve Visati iti Vishnu. One who resides everywhere, that's Vishnu. So Vishnu is residing in every single atom, in between atoms, all the time. And he exhales and inhales, so he manifests, he also unmanifests for our external vision. That's very important.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's move.
Next verse. I want to add a point on this. I don't know whether
please,
I'm correct.
Yes.
I think super soul, which is Paramatma, it exists only in the material world and not in the spiritual world. And so Bhagavan is the one who's coming as avatar, the higher level, you know, the Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan, 3 levels.
Okay,
Am I
Prabhuji.
right, Prabhu?
That also is correct. That 3 different manifestations of Bhagavan. So in one sense, Vishnu and Krishna are not different. From the job perspective, they are different. But otherwise, Vishnu, Narayan, Krishna, they are same. From job perspective, they are different. What Krishna does is different than what Vishnu does.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Super soul, which is Paramatma, which exists only in the material world.
Yes, that's correct. So what's the question, Prabhuji? I didn't understand that.
No, because we were saying the super soul is the one who's coming in the various avatars.
Okay.
For
Yeah,
the previous
Bhagavan.
answer, you were mentioning that the super soul is coming as avatar. So I'm just talking the Bhagavan comes as avatar rather than the super soul. That's what I'm trying.
Prabhuji, both are correct. Both are correct. Super soul is Vishnu. Super soul is no other than Vishnu. And when we say in this material world, Vishnu is taking avatar, in one sense, that's also correct. Okay. Vishnu himself is an incarnation. But in one sense, when we say Vishnu is taking the Dashavataar, that's also correct. Yeah?
Okay.
So we don't here split all the time between Vishnu and Krishna. In Bhagavatam also, these 2 words are interchangeably used. You can read in Prahlad Maharaj pastime, Gopi's prayers. These Vishnu and Krishna are interchangeably used. But on a certain context, certain leelas, we have to contextualize it. We say, obviously, Krishna is higher than Vishnu.
So this is 15:15.
Okay, thank you. Hare Krishna. Very nice. Okay, let's move forward. 229. That's a very nice verse. It has multiple explanations. Who has not read as yet? I still don't know who is KA, so we'll skip that. Sumit Sonia is here in this room. Prasanna Prabhu, you try to read? It's a big one. You are good in Sanskrit. Asharivat Pashyati Kashidenam. Asharivat Pashyati Kashidenam.
Tataiva cha anya.
Asharivat Madati
Asharivat chainam anya shrunoti.
Asharivat Chainam Anya Shrunoti.
Vapiyenam vidana chaiva asti.
Shrutva Enam Vedana Chaiva Ashe.
Some look on the soul as amazing, some describe him as amazing, and some hear of him as amazing, while others, even after hearing about him, cannot understand him at all.
So this is a verse which is called a tongue twister. Tongue twister means you read it again and again. Oh, what is this? Huh? Him. Okay, the same question which was asked by Rupam Prabhu. So it's a conventional use. Prabhupada has used it. His soul doesn't have any gender, male or female. So just Prabhupada has to write something. So don't take it from that. This is conventional use. Have to refer to someone with something. Okay, so Asharivat Pashyati Kashidenam. So Ashari word is used so many places. Now Asharivat Pashyati. Pashyati means to see. Kashyap means some people see soul as Ashari. Amazing. Wow, amazing. Yeah? Asharivat Vadati Tathaiva Chanya Anyaha. The others, so there's one group of people are seeing soul, Pashyati soul as amazing. Second, Vadati. Vadati means to say. Some say as amazing. Third, Asharivat Chainam Anya Shranoti. Some hear as amazing. The fourth line. Shutva api means be, certainly. Shutva, even after hearing, Vedana Chaiv Kashit, they do not understand anything. So there are 4 categories of people described in this verse as per the one opinion. So we'll say 2 opinions in this. So one opinion is saying, some people say see soul as amazing. Some people Vadati say soul as amazing. Some people hear soul as amazing. And some people, even after hearing, do not understand anything. So this is a verse which can be translated into multiple levels actually. So when we say Pashyati as Ashara, so when we talk about soul, suppose Bhagavad Gita, right now we are having a series of verses. If someone didn't know about the soul at all, and someone hears about it, say for example the third category, wow, is it soul is like that? After hearing, you'll get, wow, oh, the soul is like that. You're not the body, you're the soul, and the soul changes the body and blah, 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 So he will hear soul as amazing. Some people say, I'm talking about it right now. So I'm saying soul is like that, and you're not the body. So I'm saying that. And some people see soul like with Asharya. Asharya is with wonder, with surprise. This is not what we normally hear, but when we hear about it, we get an emotion of wonder, Asharya. Is that clear? But some people, even if you tell this knowledge, then yes, bakwas hai. You're all bluffing. You're all Hare Krishnas, don't understand.
See means what you're saying. See means we can't see. It's not listening.
This is not listening. No, you can't see. No, you can't see. Visualizing it, yeah, visualizing. So, not physically seeing this like that. No, visualizing. This all like that. So you're hearing about it. You're saying about it, or you're seeing. We'll come to that. We'll come to that in a second. Yeah. So you understand this simple translation. Now another translation Acharya has also explained with this particular verse. This Asharya can be attached with soul or with the person. So what I said right now, it is to the soul. Soul is amazing, but also the first line can also refer to what Prabhuji just said. The person is amazing who sees the soul. The person is amazing. That person is amazing, Asharya, that person who sees the soul. That means very advanced transcendentalists who are able to see the soul. Now here also seeing means visualizing. So say a sannyasi is able to see the soul of the person rather than the person. And that sannyasi is amazing because he's able to see the soul. I can't see, isn't it? A sannyasi or a very advanced spiritualist, he can see the soul. Yes, yes. Yeah. That's Sarupa. Now there's two different questions. You're talking the soul or the Sarupa? Yeah, that's the Sarupa. So first, we're talking just the soul here, but we're not soul Sarupa. Soul's eternal residence. So we're talking about, so sannyasis for Shukdev Goswami, when he passed through that lake where some young ladies were taking bath during the pastime, the young ladies got no impact because they said, Shukdev Goswami has no vision for male or female. He only sees the soul. Just give one example. So Shukdev Goswami is amazing. Understand the first point? So they can see the soul. We can't. Second, that person is wonderful, Asharyavat, who speaks about the soul. Now, who speaks about the soul? Only Atmagyani will speak about the soul, who has the knowledge about the soul. Now, I'm speaking about, I have no realization, to be honest. It's just theory. Be honest, it's just a theory. But some people have realized knowledge and they speak about that. When they give class, they have not. Lord Shiva is giving class, for example. He has realized knowledge. I don't have any realized knowledge. So you see, understandable, that person is amazing, who's able to see the soul. Say Sukadeva Goswami, for example. Some people are speaking about the soul, they realize knowledge of. They are Atmagyanis, they are very high. So they are Asharyavat. They are very wonderful people. And the third category, who hears about the soul as wonderful, that is us, all of us. We believe the speaker, we believe this Shastra, but we are wonderstruck. How amazing is soul like that? Is soul like that? There's no impact on the soul, even if the body dies, even if the nuclear bomb come, corona come, no impact on the soul. Wow, it's amazing, right? This is our category. And the fourth category is Shutrapi Ena Vedana Chaiv Kashir. Whenever you preach to outsiders, they call us as a bluff. That's the fourth category here. Even after hearing this amazing knowledge, I am amazed on them. Why don't you understand this simple concept? So they are also Asharya. They're also wonderful people. Why they're wonderful? In a sarcastic sense. You understand? You're amazing, Prabhuji. You don't even understand this simple knowledge. You are not the body, you're the soul. Prabhupada also explained the knowledge of soul to different people. Some people understood, some people didn't. So they're also wonderful, but not in a positive sense. So first three categories in a positive sense. So first category is people are able to see the soul. Shukadeva Goswami, for example, Lord Shiva, they're able to see the soul. Asharyavat, fourth category. Different people Prabhupada spoke. Some people did not understand that knowledge. So you understand the four categories. So it can be attached with the soul, or it can be attached to the person. It's a very deep verse actually. Next one. You need a few minutes for your last slide. Yeah. It's 6 o'clock. Okay. 30. Who has not read as yet? Let's start in this class. After Please, Mataji. Dehi nityam avadhyoyam. Dehe sarvasya bharata. Tasmat sarvani bhutani. Natam shoshitum arhasi. So this is the last verse in this series, the second section which we are reading in the second chapter. So from 2:11 to 2:30, the 20 verses given for the soul. This is the last verse. So this sort of concludes the section. So what basically Krishna is saying, Dehi, what Dehi means? Soul. Dehi Nityam, soul is, now you have to translate, huh? You know enough Sanskrit now. Eternal. Avadhyoyam. Vad means to kill. Avadhya means cannot be killed. See, you're so intelligent now, just reading 20 verses. So Dehi is Nityam, he is everlasting, and is Avadhya, it cannot be killed. Dehe Sarvasya Bharata, it's not only applicable for one soul. How many souls is applicable for this knowledge? Every single soul. Dehe Sarvasya Bharata. It's applicable for all the Dehas which has the soul. That means it's applicable for every single soul. It's not like you are Arjun is applicable for you, but I'm a poor soul. My soul will die. Nothing. This is existing. This knowledge is applicable for even a vegetable soul, a soul which has taken a vegetable body, or you are a big Kshatriya, or you are a demigod. This knowledge is applicable for Sarvasya, every single Deha who will have a Dehi, right? Very simple. Tasmat Sarvani Bhutani. Tasmat, therefore, Sarvani Bhutani, for all these Bhuta, Natam Sochitam Harasi. Please do not limit. Is it clear? So Krishna concludes this section by sort of again repeating one word for soul, Nityam and Avadhya, actually two words, huh? Nityam and Avadhya. Soul cannot be killed, it's everlasting, and this knowledge is applicable for all the kings and soldiers who are present here. So do not limit. Huh? So this is the conclusion of the first section, 230. O descendant of Bharata, he who dwells in the body, which is the Dehi, in the body can never be slain. Therefore, you need not to grieve for any living thing. Okay, clear? All good? Next, let's move. We still have 10 minutes or something. We'll do a few verses. I think we have to have a question answer session window. Sorry, bro. We'll continue. Park the questions for the end. They're very nice questions, actually. I love it. Oh, Amar Prabhu has a question. His hand is up. Prabhu, just give me 5 minutes or so. We'll stop and then we can answer. Both brothers are asking questions. No problem. Okay, no problem. Questions are welcome. 231. Kisne nahi padha abhi? Who has not read? Mataji, you want to try? Anyone? 231.
Sadharma opicha abekha.
Swadharmam apicha aveksha.
No become pitum arhasi.
Na become pitum arhasi.
Dharmadhi juddhasya.
Dharmadhi juddhasya.
Annat khatriyasana vidyate.
Khatriyasena vidyate.
Considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, you should know that there is no better engagement for you than fighting on religious principle, and so there is no need for hesitation. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Prabhuji. So now 231 to 238, so next section which we are talking. So now Krishna has spoken about the knowledge about the soul and the applications of it. Now Krishna is talking about the prescribed duties. It's going in a different theme here. The first verse he can say, Swadharmam apicha aveksha. So Swadharmam can have many meanings. So dharma itself has many meanings. Here we'll take a simple meaning based on this context. So here, what is the dharma of Arjuna? Swadharma is the first obviously. Fight. He's a Kshatriya. He is fighting a righteous war. He has tried all the means to avoid the war. He was able to take very little, although he deserved a lot. He was able to take very, still it did not work. So finally he is there to fight, and he's fighting with all these people who are, in one sense, are not pious, right? So at this stage, what is his Swadharma? To fight. So Krishna is saying, Swadharmam apicha adeksha. So if you consider your Swadharma right now, na vikampitum. Kampan means, everyone knows kampan, kampana, ilna. So na vikampan. Please do not shake from your duty. Whatever your Swadharma is, follow that Swadharma. And that Swadharma obviously is to fight. So dharme adi yuddha shreyo. You remember when Arjun said in first chapter, actually in the second chapter, shreyo bhaktim bhokshmapi loke. So what is my shreya? What is the vision which I see? Arjun said, bhakshmam api loke. In this loka, bhakshmam, bhik man ke jeena better hai, rather than killing my grandfather and gurus. That's what he said, right? Shreya. So he asked a question, but you tell me what is the shreya for me? 2.8 or 2.7. So he is saying, dharmayati yuddha shreyo. So what is your shreya? Krishna is saying now, dharma yuddha. You follow the dharma yuddha. So whatever your sadhana is, don't tremble upon that. Don't shake from that. You are a judge. So I'm saying Mataji as a judge. Don't tremble from your duty. Your duty is, as per the law, you do the needful. If this entity is to be punished, you punish. If it is to be rewarded, you reward. So here, dharma yuddha. So Krishna is using the word dharma yuddha. Kshatriya sanavidyate. So there is no other dharma for a Kshatriya. So read Prabhupada, considering your specific duty as a Kshatriya, so starting from the last line, Kshatriya sanavidyate, you should know that there is no better engagement for you. Now here this you word is very important. Now you cannot say, Krishna is saying everyone should fight. That's not the point. Swadharma, your dharma at this stage. No better engagement for you than fighting on a dharmayadi, religious principle. So there is no need for hesitation, no vikampan. Do not tremble, do not shake. Follow your duty. Is that okay? Because Arjun was shaking. He said, no, my body is shaking. There's a verse 1.44, I guess, or 43. Prabhuji, next one. 6:10 we'll stop and then we can take some questions. 2:32. Kaun baki hai? Please, Prabhuji. Yadrchaya chopapannam swargadvaram apavritam sukhina kshatriya partha lavante yuddham idrisham. Yeah. So generally, again, Krishna is talking on the prescribed duty level. So we have to go step by step. So at this level, yadrachaya. Yadrachaya means apne aap. Sometimes in Bhagavatam we see Agastya Muni arrived. Yadrachaya. Indradu Maharaj is doing tapasya. Agastya Muni arrives. Indradu Maharaj did not give invitation. Please come to my ashram and accept some prasadam. Nothing. Agastya Muni, Durvasa Muni arrives. Pandavas in Vanvas. Yadrachaya. Yadrachaya word is also very popular. It says Parvat Nichitraketu Maharaj Upakyan came Yadrachaya. Apne aap aa gaye. No one invited them, but they just came. So this Yadrachaya uses for Yuddha. So this Yuddha was not invited by Arjuna or by Pandavas, right? It just happened to be. Although they did not want it, it happened to be. Yadrachaya Chopapannam Sarvadvaram Apavritam. So it says when a Kshatriya lives, again we are talking on a Karma Kanda level here. When a Kshatriya lives, they aspire to go to heaven. They aspire to go to heaven. That I live a very righteous kingdom, and then after my death, I go to Swargloka. If you see in India, when someone loved one passes away, they write Swargvasi Mataji, Swargvasi Pitaji, ki smriti mein, my mother or father's soul who's gone to Swargloka, please come in the Terahi ceremony, for example. So Swargvas is very, Vaikunthavas is not so popular. Swargvas is very popular. Mahabharata itself actually, again, if you don't look at it from devotional perspective, it's a Karma Kanda Grantha. It talks about prescribed duties and going back to Swargloka. So from that level we are talking, right? We have not reached to the devotional side as yet. So Krishna is saying, Yadrachaya Chopana Swargdvaram Aprutam. So this Yuddha, which has appeared Yadrachaya, you didn't plan for it, right? So what you're going to achieve at the end of your life, going to Swargloka, it's already present right now, right? But you're going to do your whole duty as a Kshatriya, become a king and do a righteous kingdom, perform all the yajnas, and then when you die, you go to Swargloka. That opportunity is automatically here right now, isn't it? You're talking about death. If you die, what will happen? You go to Sargloka, because this is a dharma yuddha. Now, Quran also talks about the dharma yuddha. Now, there's misinterpretations, but that's what they say. Jihad, they call it jihad. They call it, ideally, it's actually dharma yuddha. For dharma, they are allowed to fight, and that's fine. That's fine, but not for adharma. Complete misinterpretation. But the point here is dharma yuddha is also talked about. So because this is a dharma yuddha, this has come automatically. You didn't do it. You're not attacking a bigger country, attacking a smaller country these days. I think the war is still happening somewhere. I don't know about it, but so this thing, you didn't do it, and it happens to be. So what happens? Sukhina Kshatriya Partha. So actually, Kshatriyas are very sukhi. They are very happy to receive this sort of opportunity. Like you have to work as a Supreme Court judge for 60 years to get a pension of $20,000 a month or whatever it is, right? But at the age of 32, you get a golden retirement scheme. There's some scheme like that in India. So golden handshake. My father actually got it. Golden handshake. So you get 5-10 lakh rupees and you leave the job right now. So suppose you get that opportunity, voluntary retirement. Will you take it? Why not? You're getting that. Get some money and get out. So you're getting it right now. Why not? I said, why not take it? Voluntary retirement. So you understand the point? What you're going to get after hundreds of years of complete dharma rajya, you're going to get it right now. Yadrachaya. You understand yadrachaya? Apne aap. You are not wrong. You have not done it. It has happened. So this opportunity will open the door of heaven for you. Apanna means Swarg Dwaram Aparna. It has achieved that stage. Swarg Dwar, Swarg ka dwar khol degi. It will open the door of heaven for you. Sukhina Kshatriya Aparna. Labante Yuddham Idasham. So is prakar ka yuddh, like that sort of opportunities come very rare. We need Prabhupada translation. O Partha, happy are the Kshatriyas to whom such fighting opportunities come unsought, yadrachaya, opening for them the doors of the heavenly realms. So basically, Krishna is saying, fight, it's all right. Do your prescribed. If you die, go there. And if you win, Krishna will say, you'll get the kingdom of the whole world. What's the point of lamentation? Okay, we'll stop here. There are two questions. I'll go to your brother first. Younger ones first. Amar Prabhu, Hare Krishna, you had a question earlier. Or Kanishka Mataji.
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes,
Prabhuji.
Prabhu, your voice is a little low. If possible, we can come a little close to laptop.
Yes. Can you hear me clearly?
Yes. Yes.
Prabhuji, now we're talking about soul. As it is described by Krishna, that soul takes birth and dies, and then it takes birth again, in some form or whatever, based on the karmas. Now, as we speak about the soul is going to die. It's not going to stay there anywhere. It's going to come back to Earth or come back to some other planet. So it is keep on rotating the same cycle. Is that right?
Yes, Prabhuji.
And we were talking about in the chapter 1 where Arjuna was bewildered and he was asking the question, the verse number 41. That time we discussed.
Amar Prabhu, sorry, it's still very low. It's a bit hard.
Okay, Prabhu. Is that clear now?
Better, Prabhuji.
Okay. So you understand my first part is the
yes, so soul is basically going different bodies and taking birth and dying and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's going in the cycle of birth and death. So it's not staying anywhere. It will take the birth again once it dies, and when it takes the birth, then it will die again anyway. Is that right?
Yes.
Now, and then we discussed in the chapter 1, in the verse 41, where Arjun was bewildered and he was saying that what will happen to if we keep on fighting like this? Our ancestors won't have anybody to give them the food and grain.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
if we're talking about that, how is it possible? Like if our ancestors were soul as well, they were in the body, and when they die, they went up somewhere, and they would have taken the birth again anyway. Is that right? So
okay.
why are we taking that as a guilt of that we are not gonna give the food and water to our ancestor who's
got it, Prabhuji, got it.
soul?
Hare Krishna, the class is not finished as yet. Sorry. So Amar Prabhu is asking a very nice question. I'll repeat the question. So soul basically, based on the karma, keeps taking different bodies, right? Prabhu, correct me if I'm not getting your question correctly. But in the first chapter, Arjun was very concerned about the ancestors, how the ancestors are going to get food and water. We have to do certain kriyas, rituals for them. Is that right, Prabhu? So why we are concerned? So Prabhuji, when ancestors are in the material world, they are in the material world. So they have not taken birth, but they are preparing to take birth based on their karma. So anyone in the material world, for that sake speaking, I'm talking conditioned soul here, not liberated soul, are a part of material world. So they are bound with the material laws. So whether the soul is in Yamloka or in Swargloka or in Prithviloka, probably it doesn't matter. So soul keeps taking birth, that is correct, but sometimes you have to wait for the judgment. So Yamraj has to give a particular judgment that which body you will take. You'll become rich or poor, you'll be diseased or you'll be healthy and all those things. So this cycle is going on. So suppose you are passing the harbor bridge, and harbor bridge is very, very busy. You're stuck in the traffic for 2 hours. It doesn't mean you don't exist. You still exist. You're just stuck. So they're stuck there, Prabhu. You're still hungry. In the car also, you might feel hungry. You may have to tell your family that I'm late because of traffic and blah, blah, blah. But you are stuck. You can't do something, right? So similarly, souls are there, they're waiting for traffic to flow. But while you are there, you still feel hungry, you may still feel thirsty, you may grab your water bottle and drink or eat something, right? So similarly, it's just a part of material world. The souls have not taken, so the birth does not happen immediately. Birth takes time. And the decision is made by material laws. Sometimes Brahmaji is in charge, sometimes Yamraj is in charge, sometimes time or Kal is in charge. So it just takes time, but during that time also, your karmas are with you. It may not be manifested, but it's there with you.
Yeah, but Prabhu, it says that the soul is an individual. It doesn't
Yes.
have any connection to anybody. That's what Krishna is
Yep.
trying to say to him, that this Bhishma Pitama is not a Bhishma Pitama, it's a soul. You're seeing
Yes,
his soul,
Prabhuji.
not the body. But if there is no connection as a soul, then why we have to worry about the other soul which is already passed away? Maybe, like not my father or father's father. I'm talking about the purvaj of father's great great grandfather. When they probably wouldn't be when maybe they would have passed on to the other body. So how does it connect when you say that the
Yes.
soul is an
Prabhu,
individual?
in a pure state, you are a soul, that's correct. But now we are not in a pure state, we are in an impure state. Like you have a body, you have certain needs for that body, and you are trying to fulfill those needs as per your capacity. So similarly, when we talk about our ancestors, we have our progenies as well, our sons or daughters, our brother, sister, parents. So we do our duty in the body, and Shastra does tell about that. So we cannot ignore it. Yes, if you become fully realized, and there's a verse which we read in the first chapter, if you remember, if you become completely surrendered to Mukunda, you are not obliged for any debts. But till that time, we are obliged for those debts, those 6 debts which everyone has. So we are waiting, we are in that journey, Prabhuji. Once you are fully realized, what you are saying is correct. Then you're not obliged to any duty towards your parents or demigods or rishis, nothing. You're a devotee, pure devotee. And then that knowledge is realized. Is it okay?
Yes, Prabhu.
I know there's a Rasaman Prabhu's hand. It's 6:15, 6:18 rather. Prabhu, I'll stop the class here. Maybe Mataji, you can write the question and we can answer next time. I'd like to finish the class on time.
Yeah, sure, Prabhu. I will write the question
Yeah,
next
please,
time.
we'll definitely answer, but next time.